Alright, good.
Hey guys, this is Sarah from Airlie Gardens, and for our Tuesdays at 2 little program, I wanted to talk to you about some critters that I just found under this log here. I'll give you some hints about what I found and see if you can guess. They're pretty small because they live under this log. They're slimy, and they have a spiral shell. Any ideas what I'm talking about? We're going to be talking about snails. So in North Carolina alone, there are over 200 species of land gastropods. So gastropods is going to include snails and slugs. They are pretty closely related. The word gastro means stomach, and the word pod means foot. So these guys are going to kind of be moving around with their foot that has their stomach inside of it, which is how they get their name. And we're going to focus first on land snails. So these are those guys that just came from underneath of the log. They do have a shell, and slugs do not have a shell. That doesn't mean that a slug is just the same thing as a snail without a shell. They are their own species. They are slimy because their bodies are covered in mucus. That mucus is going to help them to slide across all kinds of different surfaces. When you touch a snail or a slug, sometimes they will actually release extra mucus to make them super slimy so that they can get away. They have eyes that are on these top 2 tentacles here, and then they have 2 more smaller tentacles underneath of their eyes. It kind of looks like a mustache, but it's not a mustache. Those are actually just to help them to feel around. So snails can see, and they can taste, and they can feel, and they can smell, but snails cannot hear. So we can scream as loud as we want, and we will not scare this snail because it can't hear us. Snails can live on land, and the ones that live on land have lungs, but there are also some snails that are aquatic, which I have one to show you with me as well. So this guy, come back. There he is. Is he in there? Yeah. So this guy we caught from our pond earlier. This is one of our aquatic snails. There are a couple of aquatic snails that have lungs, but most of our aquatic snails are going to have gills, and that is how they breathe and really what makes them different from land snails. The ones that do have lungs, the way they breathe is they're going to trap a bubble of air in their shell when they are at the surface, and then they're going to take that bubble down with them and hold them in their shell like a little oxygen tank, and that's how they're going to breathe. What snails eat really depends on their habitat. So our land snails, a lot of those guys are going to be decomposers. They're going to break down decaying plants and animals, but some of them are actually predators. They will eat other snails or other invertebrates. And a lot of our aquatic snails, same thing. There's a couple predatory ones, but a lot of them are just going to eat algae and decaying plant and animal matter. And those decomposers are really important because if we didn't have things breaking down dead decaying matter, we just have a bunch of dead stinky stuff laying around all the time, and that's not what we want. So thanks, snails. Did you want to zoom in on them one more time?
Alright, so just to let you guys know, we're going to release all these little snails back to wherever we found them. And always, if you are ever flipping over any logs like this one here, you're going to find lots of different animals, but always make sure that you're very cautious whenever you flip over a log, because you never know what could be hiding under there. And just, for instance, there's one of our little snails right there. Hope you guys enjoyed our Tuesdays with Airlie. We will see you next Tuesday.
Thank you, guys.